Hi all, welcome to Roadmaps conference. Our first speaker is Nikola Vojtek, so we can start.
Thank you, Maria. Let me share my screen. Yeah, now you can see my screen.
Yes.
Thanks all one more time for joining. My today's talk will be to try to, let's say, tackle some of the most important aspects and responsibilities of the product manager. The role itself from let's say, from the development team, from the engineering team perspective. I'm currently working as engineering manager in Down. Of course, we have a product team behind us who is, focused on our latest biometric products. And in terms of this talk, since this conference is a very, good place, and where different people in the different roles, mostly around the product, are joining, are listening this, I thought that this would be a good topic to be able to share some feedback from the development team. What do we need from this product manager role itself in terms of delivering the product? So, as most of the stories, I will also start mine with the importance of the teamwork. I saw that here, of course, we have people coming from the companies that are mostly focused on the outsourcing, but we also have people that are coming from the companies that are developing its own products from scratch, and basically delivering that product all the way down through the pipeline to the clients. And I would say, from my experience, from my perspective, of course, the teamwork, it is important in each organization, but definitely it is very, let's say, highlighted when it comes to the companies that are building their own product from scratch. And when it comes to that teamwork, of course, let's say, how from year to year now the competition is growing, not only if we are talking about the organizations among themselves, but also between the teams inside one company, and even between the, let's say, the individuals who are working inside the team. And why is this important? And I will slowly come to my topic, and to the product manager role itself. We all know this famous phrase saying that our chain is weak in the, let's say, in the level of the weakest link in that chain. But my question, and what I always like to ask everyone who is, touching this topic, especially when you're looking through the team perspective, why do we have weak links in a chain? And do we have a process behind us, process that we put in place when we were building our teams, when we were managing our teams, the process that will be producing, let's say, the equal links? Why is this important? Because when you have a team, and not, when I say team, I mean product manager, product owner, you have the development team, you have someone who is a scrum master, maybe delivery lead, maybe project manager, whatever. They are all, members of a team. At one point of time, of course, you will have one person who is the, let's say, the main driver of that team. Not only driving the development, but driving the whole work, driving the effort, driving the, pushing everyone, be the motivation factor if needed. But at some other point of time, that person can become a follower. Maybe someone else will step in. And when we are also observing the team in our company, when even looking through other organizations, it is always good that you consider that time variable when you are working as a team, when you are seeing who is in which role. And why that time variable is important? I believe it's important, and this is basically the point of my topic today. That time variable is important because each person through time is basically developing and trying to learn from the feedback that he or she is getting from other people in the surrounding, in the working environment, and not only learning from the feedback but trying to improve from time to time, of course. And that's why I wanted to use this opportunity at this conference to talk a little bit about let's say providing feedback to the product management team, the feedback that is coming from the engineering perspective, the feedback that is basically consists of all the things, all the things that one development team would need from the practical, of course, point of view, not going into any theory or any frameworks, but from the practical point of view, when you need to deliver a product, and what that team that needs to work on that product would need as a support, as a guidance from the product manager. Now, I wanted to use this. Maybe some of you saw these images. This is from the product talk, of course. This here is not today talk about the difference between the product owner and product manager, but for me, this one is important, and I like this one saying from Teresa. Basically, she's saying that we have two teams, two different teams when it comes to the organization and work itself, and even managing. We have some kind of a mercenary teams that are basically just doing what they have been told to do. And no matter if it is the product manager or product owner role, that's depending of the organization of the company, of course. But on the other side, we have some missionary team. Basically, that missionary team, as you see on this slide, is tasked with the mission. And between these two teams, also, I would say, from my experience so far, that also lies the boundary between the, let's say, member of the product team who is doing his work and producing some excellent results, and the member of the product team that is just there to do his job or her job, no matter not going into the essence of what needs to be done, not considering the product itself, or not considering the capacity of the team or the chemistry of the team and everything. When now going further to the product manager role itself, I wanted to highlight here the four important things, the four, let's say, key words that are basically describing the product manager, and why that role is very important when we are talking about the delivery, especially in the companies that has, as I was mentioning at the beginning, the companies that has their own product, and they are trying to from scratch basically to deliver the product to the client. The product manager is definitely someone who is most of you probably know, and you're doing this, of course. The product manager is someone who is actually prioritizing things and needs to be there as the first point, who can make tough decisions, who can make quick decisions in terms of what needs to be done, in which order, when, etc., etc. The second thing regarding the product manager is definitely the value. And when we observe a product, and if we consider a product through some kind of a, let's say, life cycle, of course there will be some introductory period when the product is growing. You will have some peak periods, you will have some stability periods of the product, You will have, of course, some, let's say, sustainment period where your product reached the full potential, and now your clients are using it, and you're trying to find a few more use cases of it. But in all those, in each of those phases, the product manager should be there to be focused on value and to guide the team how to produce something that is valuable for the clients, of course. So that's why this second keyword is basically the value. The third point is the complexity. I would say that the product manager or member of the product team needs to balance between more and less complex work, and needs to be there to properly support and plan and see see basically basically to see which items should be added to the product and which not. The fourth thing is definitely the importance, and this is the part that I would say it's let's say not maybe the crucial. All these are crucial, but this is the part that maybe it could be very tough, because when I think about the importance of some items or something that is built into the product, I think I immediately think about the communication that the product role is doing with various different stakeholders, and balancing because for each of the stakeholders, his request is the most important one in the world, that's for sure. And the product manager is there to balance that importance and to somehow to simply put, to prepare a list of all those items that needs to be done in some order and serve that to the team, of course. So with that said, as I was mentioning at the beginning, today's presentation is about some situations, some cases. Why do I think that the product manager role needs to know the product very well, needs to balance between the cost and benefits, and needs to balance between the business and technical aspects, and so on and so on, you will see. And through these examples, I wanted to highlight the situation, what will happen if these things are not present, if from the product manager perspective, what will happen if those things are not present, what will be some negative effects that it will be present in the team, in the organization, and basically through that to come to some conclusion together with you, what is that the team needs from the product manager when it comes to delivery, especially when we are talking about delivery of the complex products. So first situation is basically why the product manager needs to know the product very well, and what will happen if this is not the case. And of course, from time to time, we have these situations where we have persons who is people who are driving the delivery process in terms of deciding which features should be built in our product. But maybe to some extent those persons are not familiar with all the use cases and all the capabilities of the product. I would say that could happen. So in this situation, we will have most probably that we will have the missing roadmap. That's the first thing. If the product manager doesn't know the product very well, it will not be able to generate a roadmap or something for some period of time. It doesn't need to be for the whole year, maybe for the next 6 months, on which items team needs to focus on, and we will have this roadmap missing basically. And the other thing is, this is the strategical part, but also the other thing is looking more operationally. We will have a situation where there will be no guidance provided to the team for the new sorry, for the new features and tasks. So if we have this situation, what we will have? We will have the team, the development team, who is spending time inefficiently, definitely, because if you don't have some kind of a roadmap, some long-term plan, let's say like that, on which items you want to work, and you don't have that because you are not familiar with all the use cases, you're not familiar with all the characteristics, capabilities of your product, and then you will have team that will, of course, they will work on something, but they will, let's say, jumping from feature to feature, maybe during the development of something new, they will introduce some breaking changes for some existing features. We also saw that probably happening, which is not so, not so often, but it is happening. And basically, if the team doesn't have the guidance from the product manager on, especially when it comes to the some edge cases, special cases of the new functionality on which they are working on, they will not build those features properly, which is, of course, and basically they will not be able to cover all the edge cases. In that case, probably in some other iterations of the development, they will need to come back to that, and then we can talk about switching the context and wasting a lot of time and so on and so on. So giving that said, these are basically some of the items that I wanted to highlight, that I'm highlighting here, what the team needs from the product manager. Definitely, the team needs some product guidance in terms of the roadmap, and team wants to know if they are working on the items that are meaningful, of course, and the team wants to know on a longer term period, how can we improve our product? I'm going back to that slide from the product talk, if we have the missionary team, of course. The other thing is that feature guidance. During the development, the team will run into some, let's say, edge cases, and they would need someone who can make a decision how to proceed. And usually that decision needs to make, promptly, very, very quickly, so the team can continue, not to stand still and not to waste time, waiting. And the last thing is this, I would say, task guidance. Since from time to time, the team will run into some smaller items that needs to be tackled, especially when we are talking about the development of the complex products. And then, from my experience, those smaller tasks could waste a lot of time, could make a difference if you're preparing a release or something. And the main question is from the team: should we invest time into working on that smaller task or not? And as I said, usually those smaller tasks can make a difference, especially if you have a tight release deadline or something like that. And that is where the product role should come in place, and try to help, to support, to assess few things, to see if this is okay to be done or not. Are we going to risk our release deadline or something else? So this is the first use case. The second use case is basically focused on the importance of understanding the correlation between the business and technical aspects. Of course, this doesn't mean that the product manager should, be the person who is, all into technical thing, into architecture or something, but it would be good to understand the basic technical aspects so that it could balance between what are the business needs and what is technical feasible, of course. If we have, of course, someone in the product role who is not good in balancing these business and technical aspects, who is not familiar with the technical aspects, at least in terms of the basic items when we have, for example, a new feature, at least to understand which services needs to be updated, what that new feature will impact on the product side. If you don't have that, usually we will have the situation when we will set up some wrong delivery expectations, let's say like that. From the business side, the product role could communicate, of course, that something can be delivered decently, fairly or quickly, or I don't know. And on the other side, when the product will speak with the team, when that feature request will come to the team for the planning and to see how technically this is feasible to be done, then the team will probably realize that there are some more changes that needs to be done to support that. So then we will have a mismatch in the delivery expectation. On the other side, maybe we will have the situation where we will not be able to deliver the features at all, or to deliver part of that, or something similar. And on some other situations, we can have the release date missed, which is also okay because some features are more technically complex and require more time, of course, or there's so many things that are unknown regarding some new features. So and the team needs to spend some more time on investigating how to deliver them. In that situation, again, we will have the team who is spending time inefficiently, spending, let's say, a lot of time working on something that maybe it's not properly communicated to the stakeholders. And maybe if the stakeholders knew that feature will take so much time, maybe they will give up from that feature, or maybe they will plan something differently. Maybe they need something more quickly to be delivered. We will have situations, of course, when we have a product that is not moving forward, and also we will have, let's say, the unsatisfied clients, which is vital, I would say. But so what in this second situation, what actually team needs from the product manager? Definitely, the first point is this collaboration and communication with the product manager. They need to spend some time together and discuss the ways how some things can be implemented. And definitely they need to work together to set up some realistic expectations in terms of when something can be delivered, how something can be delivered, And we are all, of course, witnessing a lot of situations where, we have either our sales team, our commercial teams, or whatever. They are basically promising something that was not previously agreed, not even double checked with the delivery team if that is possible to be done in that frame. And that's why I think the product manager role is crucial here. That product role should take over that whole process of planning, releasing, communicating, and that needs to be done together with the development team. And I know this is something basic, but this is definitely something that is happening still. So talking about the case 3, the situation in which the product manager should manage stakeholders' expectation, of course, and the question is, why should that product person be good in that? If we don't have someone who is managing these expectations, again we will have the situation in which we have wrong delivery expectations, not only in terms of the dates, but also in terms of the work that will be delivered. Then on the other side, we will have situations where we will have some features deprioritized, maybe not included in one of the upcoming releases, and maybe not even communicated back to the stakeholders that those features are not included, and those stakeholders will maybe be waiting for them. Or on the other side, the features could be misinterpreted. So basically, that's the, let's say, the common example, and that's why the product or product role, someone needs to go back and forth, discussing with the stakeholders, understanding their business needs, and going back to delivery team, and with a properly documented feature and properly documented what needs to be done. In other case, if all this is missing, what do we have? Of course, we will have unsatisfied stakeholders because they don't understand what is happening. They are just, communicating their requests and their needs further through the pipeline. In some cases, we could be ending up with the work being doubled. If some pieces of the puzzle are needed for let's say both features, and if we have a situation where we have two stakeholders that are asking something slightly differently, the role of the product should be, in this case, to try to see if those features can be more generalized so that they can be delivered as a one. And of course, team can, in this situation, spend time ineffectively, let's say like that, because they will not work on the items that will bring value to the product. So what the team needs in this scenario? Team needs definitely the alignment of all expectations between the product and stakeholders. A lot of stakeholders, a lot of expectations, a lot of features. That's fine, that's normal, that's good. On the other side, team needs, let's say, some kind of a proper prioritization of those features, and the prioritization should be definitely done based on the inputs from the stakeholders. And I would say more that also that prioritization needs to be communicated back to the stakeholders so that their expectations could be properly managed and they know what they can expect in the upcoming release or in the upcoming period. Case 4 is the one of the favorite ones. It's the balance between the cost and benefits when we are talking about the features that needs to be implemented. And the question is, why should the product manager be the one who is measuring those cost versus benefit when it comes to the planning, prioritization of the new work? If we don't have that, of course, this is the basic thing. We will have our resources. When I'm talking about the resources, not only in terms of the people, but also time and other, we will have our resources spent on features that are not usable for more clients. This is one of the most common scenarios, if you have multiple clients and then you have one in that group who is, I don't know, major client, and that client is asking for something. If, for example, you have clients that are central banks of all I don't know, top 100 countries in the world, and then you will have central bank of, I don't know, India coming to you with a request to build something in your SaaS app, for example. But then you will realize that new features that you're adding, it cannot be used by any other of your clients, any other of central banks, for example. It is only usable for that particular one who was asking that feature. And maybe this is your huge client. In that case, that's why I'm saying the product manager should balance and should measure the cost versus benefit, should work with the commercial, sales, whoever. Maybe if it is a huge client and if you have more opportunity for some other upsell, etc., that is feasible. But if you have some medium client, who is a medium-sized client, who is not so huge, maybe you should not invest your resource towards that direction. And also, what else could happen in this situation when you're not measuring properly the cost and benefits? You could have your team locked doing some work for some, as I said, medium-sized client. But on the other side, you will be maybe receiving some requests from some other larger clients, and you don't have anyone who can start looking at that request. In that situation, you're not spending your money wisely. And this is, of course, a huge deal, especially in the last few years. Someone will say a few years, but I think this is the case in the last 20, 30 years. You will have a team who is spending time both ineffectively and inefficiently, not producing, delivering the items in some planning pace, and also not working on the items that are introducing the value. And as I was mentioning in the previous slide, you would have some kind of a missed opportunity or even some missed opportunity for building some more useful features or some more generalized features that could be used across all clients. So what the team needs in these situations? Definitely, product manager, product role should be there to guide the team how to invest time wisely. Because, for example, if you have 5 members of the team basically in front of the product is looking from the, let's say, on the monthly perspective, you will have how many? 160 hours times 5 members, you will have certain amount of hours in front of you. And as a product role, you should, let's say, invest that time of the delivery team or the development team wisely. The team needs definitely, I would say, to focus on producing more generalized features in terms of the usability, something that can be used, widely, not only, especially when it comes to the whole SaaS concept. And a lot of businesses are now focused on the SaaS concept and producing revenue from the SaaS concept. So the team needs in these situations, let's say, the guidelines and support from the product, how to work on more of those generalized features, how to have more of these when it comes to the items that needs to be delivered. And of course, the team would need to closely collaborate with the product to plan the capacity properly. As I was saying, to plan the time that they have to work on the items to see how can they deliver. Most usually now, this is I'm hearing that teams want to deliver more frequently, even small increments, but more frequently. That's fine, but at least when it comes to the capacity, the team should plan it properly, to have some plan for the some certain period of time. And of course, it needs a close collaboration with the product to achieve that. In the final, case 5 is one of my, let's say, favorite ones. What would happen if the client is driving the delivery process, and if let's say, the product role is not the one who is driving the delivery process? We can use the SaaS. We can use the SaaS model as the example of this. And when you have your SaaS app, maybe that is used by, I don't know, 10, 15 clients, what will happen if one client is driving, the delivery process? If you have one huge client, and of course, talking about the SaaS model, if you're the company who recently developed your first SaaS app, of course, that you will try to find one huge client so that you can, as soon as possible, return the money that you invested in building the SaaS app. But if you have, I don't know, 10 or maybe 15 clients, and you have one client that is driving the whole delivery process, in terms of that client is telling what they need, what needs to be delivered, how, dictating the procedures, approvals. They want to, for example, retest some things, before going into production. That means that your SaaS app is dependable on that client, and it is very hard for you to prioritize other requirements. And as mentioned, you will have that extra, let's say, approval step. That client will always try to see some changes up in front before you go into the production, and so on and so on. And in that case, you have your prioritization process that is not working, which is, let's say, not good. You will have longer release cycles, mostly because those clients will, from how the time goes, those clients will be having some more complex features that will, require more time. And since you are not the one who is driving the release process, you will probably have longer release cycles. And lastly, but not the least important, frustrated team. Then you will have a situation where someone else is planning basically the work of your team, which is not very good, let's say like that. So what team needs in this situation? Team needs definitely the support from the product person, for first thing, for owning the release process, definitely. Second, for planning the release process and planning what will be built and what will be released when. And definitely support from the product for, let's say, if of course you have some clients and it is legitimate that they ask to see the changes, of course you can organize some kind of a demos or showcasing them the new features, and the team will need the support from the product in those scenarios. With that said, those were my 5 examples. You saw what could go wrong if these things are, let's say, not present from the product side, and if there is no or lack of support from the product in terms of the delivery and the development team. So I will just briefly mention them again. So we tackled the first point of what will happen if the product is not knowing the product very well. What would happen if the product role is not balancing the technical and business aspects, or not familiar with the basic elements of the technical aspect of the products. What could happen if the product manager or product role is not managing stakeholders' expectation, not measuring the cost versus benefit, and what would happen if we let our clients driving the delivery process. Now, this was the feedback, let's say, to from the delivery perspective, from the engineering or development team perspective. But on the other side, since a lot of talks in the last year was related to the AI and specifically to the ChatGPT and all those kind of knowledge tools, I wanted to see with you if you're also okay. Let's ask the ChatGPT what will ChatGPT tell us in terms of this topic. And with this, I will finish my presentation. Let's ask. I didn't ask this ChatGPT before, so let's try and ask. What will ChatGPT tell us in terms of what will be expectations from the product manager role when it comes to engineering on the development teams? And with this, Maria, I'm finishing my presentation. I just wanted to see if this is something that is similar to the actual real scenarios that we are experiencing. I would say this is mostly if someone wants to join me through this reading or discussions, be free. So yeah, clear product vision, this is fine. Understanding technical constraints and requirements, effective communication, this is okay. Prioritization, user-centric approach, interesting. Roadmap, definitely. Cross-functional collaboration, fine. Data-driven decision-making, adaptability, problem-solving, feedback loop, leadership, budget, resources, quality assurance. Basically, I would say, yeah, that's the majority of the items that I was covering. That's it. That's it. That's what I wanted to show you today and to present my feedback for the product managers. Open for questions now. I hope that I was on time. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nikola. It was very interesting. And what about questions? Is there anyone who want to ask something or to discuss, or maybe to share some examples from practice?
I will now stop sharing.
Okay, I will ask you to give us feedback about this session. So go to website menti.com and enter this code so you can leave your feedback there. If anyone has any questions or want to discuss or to share anything from practice, feel free to unmute yourself and start conversation with Nikola.
These are all product managers, so that's why. I believe we have a question from Jelena, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Jelena. Yeah, thank you, Jelena, for the question. So, what are three great traits of a product manager from engineering point of view? I would say the first one, the most important one, is the communication skills. This is if you can balance and you always need to balance between the different stakeholders, as I was mentioning. The other thing is understanding your product very well, so that you focus on the value and on the items, you know, that are bringing value to your product. And I would say the third thing is, let's say, the let's say the thirst of you know, knowledge, or you know, being able to quickly explore something, to learn something new, to so that you can come back and see if that's fit into your product canvas or something, you know. All the other things are technicalities. These are okay. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Jelena. And are you satisfied with those answers? Or do you have anything else to ask or to discuss?
Thank you, Elena. Yeah, it is definitely, all this is vice versa. And especially, I was saying at the beginning, when you have the product-oriented company, you know, you're building something from scratch, you know. Even, of course, Agile, Scrum, they are saying that, you know, we are not focused on the hierarchy, you know, who is where, but we are focused on the team. And that's the most important part, because each role of the team, each, you know, role in a team is doing its part of the job, part of the work. And you cannot have the delivery without each of the role. That's definitely a lot of dependencies.
Thank